Hello everybody, today's October 29th. Happy Halloween ahead of time. And today we're doing robots and nonsense. We were just talking. We don't have the spider web up this year.
Is there going to be a big Halloween celebration at the new house? We're doing trick or treat?
No, I'll be hiking that weekend.
Oh.
Yeah.
A spooky hike.
16 miles over that weekend. That will be brutal on my knees, but it'll be a good time.
Well, let's talk about some robots. I don't know how to tie that to hiking or Halloween. Maybe some scary robots. These robots would certainly be scary if you were in front of them while they were traveling at speed.
Universities will race autonomous cars around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway this week.
Perfect segue.
This is a preview of exactly what the sport is going to be in just a couple of more years.
Which kind of takes the sport out of it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Does it?
Now, these are the Indy Lights cars, which is a less powerful version of the Indy car for the noobs to get used to it, although still insanely powerful.
Yeah.
And there was a qualification period where you had to prove that you could actually make your car do these things, and now you put them on the track, I assume at the same time, right? Or is this going to be time trials? I wasn't sure about that.
I thought it was the same time, but maybe it is time trials.
It's going to be a lot more exciting if it's at the same time.
Yeah.
If you're so if they get rid of drivers entirely eventually for racing, would the real sport be like learning about the engineers then, like instead of the driver?
We're already to that point.
The engineers, it's like, ooh, how will they speed up their car to beat other car?
Right. Yes.
Eventually, DARPA will sponsor it, and it'll be driverless, and it's like whoever has the best AI.
Because NASCAR...
Then you have celebrity engineers. How weird is that going to be?
Like, NASCAR is so agnostic to who's sitting in the seat. If you're a fat NASCAR driver, the other people get plates added to their car to make up for the weight. Or you can take plates off of your car. So they try to eliminate the driver as a factor as much as possible.
Yeah, but think about like the Dale Earnhardt craze. People loved him.
Dale Earnhardt bought 5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's changed a lot since then.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, to be fair, I haven't heard of anybody else who's like, oh, I have to get the new merch for this NASCAR driver.
Well, obviously Brandon, right? I don't know Brandon's last name, but I support him. The volcano is still going. That's been a month.
So the follow-up on this story is they didn't get the dogs.
Oh,
really?
Why would we include this story? And get
I
rid
didn't
of it?
know that. I was going to feel so good about this because I felt so far. Did they feed them at least?
They did feed them.
Well, that's something.
They successfully fed them.
Oh, so the dogs aren't dead.
Well, a drone will rescue 3 dogs trapped by La Palma volcanic eruption. They couldn't get to them. They dropped some food because they were emaciated. They've been there for a month. The drones returned twice to find them. There was no trace. Upon returning the second time, they think they maybe found footprints. So the dogs may have escaped with some reckless individuals that went into the forbidden zone because it was too dangerous.
Heroes. But I thought they were totally...
Yeah, they were totally
I
surrounded.
guess maybe it cooled enough.
One of two things happened. The dogs tried to get out on their own and may or may not have succeeded.
I don't think so because that level of heat, you can't walk into it. You can't force yourself to walk into that.
Well, then a rescue team did on foot, and they may or may not have made it out.
Maybe it cooled enough and they were able to get like a path.
Maybe.
But they were talking about, so here's the drones have to carry a lot of weight because it's a big dog, right? So you have an 8-minute window. 4 to get there and convince the dog to get into the net, and 4 to get back.
And to make sure the dog doesn't jump out of the net.
Right.
And unlike the Elon Musk cave rescue fiasco from a few years ago, they said, all right, if you're going to do this, prove to us that it works. And so they did a mock-up demo in like a parking lot or something with the 8-minute window, getting a dog into a net, the whole 9 yards, and the drones performed admirably.
Wow.
Also, Gizmodo didn't show us pictures of the dog, but they have pictures of the dog, and it's so sad.
It is very sad. But they were able to get the dogs some food. So we at least know the dogs
Are fed. Yeah.
Do they have a water source? If we can just feed them for, I mean, how long can this volcano go?
Well, they're gone now. There's no trace of them.
Well, they might just be hiding. We should keep observing these dogs.
Yeah, they're probably going to do that.
Hopefully we'll have a good update next week.
Well, we've heard of AI before that has been used to process speech and do a variety of things with it. One of those things is to judge truth or intention from a voice. It's actually pretty effective. I don't think it's good enough that we can guarantee that's what it means. But if you're not trying to use it in court, if you're just trying to make money with it, you can definitely use it.
AI can see through you. CEO's language under a machine microscope. Little intonations, body language, that kind of thing. So why don't we take all of the video of CEOs speaking on the investor calls, quarterlies, blah, 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 and chart what the CEO sounds like against what the disclosures actually are and how the stock does. We end up training an AI to pick up on these little things.
Do you think it would be trained well enough against like a woman's speech pattern?
Well,
Yeah, if you have a big enough data set.
yeah, that doesn't matter, but it seems what they have learned to do based on this is to read everything. Because when you're reading, you don't get those same things.
Oh.
Maybe that's why Biden does that.
I was just thinking, like, I always get nervous if I have to make a speech, and I do better if I read it. They're just catching on to where I already was.
There was an episode of Deep Space Nine about that, where they like figured out what their Kardashians were up to because they were like reading the body language. And
It's so funny that Kardashians. Well, if you're a big fan of adult films, then you might have thought it was weird when you saw anything from Japan because they don't show the naughty bits.
it's all censored.
They pixelate it. They don't really pixelate it too hard, it seems, though.
A man has been arrested for uncensoring a Japanese porn with an AI in the first deepfake case. So he didn't deepfake it. He just put it back, and they're like, "That's not okay."
But I think the way he did it was he used a data set.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you weren't necessarily looking at the original genitalia, but you were looking at a pretty good copy of it.
That's not okay in Japanese law.
Yeah, they went right after him.
He's going to go to jail for a year, like that other case that we heard about on Monday.
You think maybe they give you a warning for that, but no, not at all.
Well, his warning is that they only went after him for like 4 things, and he's facing a year in jail. And there's like hundreds of things they could have gone after him for.
But he did not. So privacy and copyright doesn't enter into this because, like I said, that's not the original. He has changed it. He was selling them. That was that's what got him in trouble. He made $96,000 selling these.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, when we're all, barely functioning and we're just being harvested for whatever is left of value in our bodies, this will be super useful at keeping our corpses alive long enough to get the kidneys.
New fibers can make breath-regulating garments. Robotic textures will help performers and athletes train their breathing and potentially help patients recovering from post-surgery breathing changes. You can learn how to breathe better. It turns out that will help you with running and exercise and all kinds of things.
With everything, I know about myself. I breathe very shallowly when I'm not thinking about it. How do you improve that? How do you convince yourself to breathe deep?
Thousands of hours of practice.
Yeah, but keeping focus and just focusing on your breathing is so difficult to get.
And I also kind of hate that because then it's like, am I breathing right? And then all of a sudden it becomes harder to breathe when you think about it.
But if
now
you-
everyone's thinking about it.
But if you physically condition yourself, you'll already breathe more and deeper.
Yeah, well, if my shirt vibrated a little bit, I was like, "Hey, breathe deeper, idiot." And I would.
If I go a couple of weeks without cardio, I notice that my breathing changes. And then it's like I get back into the sweating profusely, and then it's like, oh, yeah, okay, that's fine.
Well, we're going back to the moon. Nothing will stop us. We will conquer the moon.
Only World War IV would stop us. That might slow us down a little bit.
But by the time we do that, I expect even the astronauts will probably be addicted to TikTok.
Yeah.
So they will need to be able to get their fix so they don't get the DTs while they're up there. How can we do that?
Connectivity in space. The moon will soon have its own internet.
They had a fun name for it. LunaNet, obviously. And so while they're up there, they're going to be able to communicate with one another, and it's got a special signal buffering latency system so that the whole transmission time to and fro will not break your connection.
Those wacky scientists, they already took into account the fact we've got 2 seconds of latency.
Brilliant. Oh my God. And baseball. Wow. You guys were certainly familiar with the big controversy, right?
No idea what was going
Oh,
on.
yes. So many sport controversy.
I'll admit I had no idea. So
Yeah.
there was a divisional playoff, and it came down to the last at-bat of the game. This guy checked his swing, which means he started to swing, but then decided against it and didn't follow all the way through. Now, normally that would be not a strike unless it was in the strike zone. But this umpire called it a strike.
Ooh.
Changed the outcome of the entire playoffs. People are saying, human error? does it belong in baseball?
Would robot umpires have made a difference in that controversy that you just described, which those words do not convey meaning to me in my mind?
Well, that's just the guy's name.
So I don't know. They have photo finish, like robot photo finishes in other sports, and sometimes they'll, consult the playback or whatever. It seems like if you're allowed to like start to go to a swing, and as long as you don't enter the batter's box, that he could maybe consult if he's not sure.
So they do have this thing here, which will create like a heat map, and it figures all that stuff out for you. Turns out that this is in use in a couple of stadiums. I don't know if it's MLB. And right now, all it does is transmit that into the umpire's ear, and he just follows whatever it tells him.
I feel like removing the human element from the umpire, though, that kind of removes yet another joy from baseball, because people love to complain about how the ump calls things.
A lot of people arguing that same thing. They're saying that the umpire is part of the baseball game.
So do you think instead of corked bats, we'll have holographic banana stickers on bats?
I'm not sure how that will extend my range on my batting.
Well, like if you put the holographic sticker
It'll
on the bat,
make it misread you.
It can't see the bat anymore. It's like, whoa, that's not it. I don't even know. That's not.
I didn't swing.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't swing at all.
Yeah. So you didn't swing and you got a home run. This is the most legendary player I've ever seen.
I'm not a big sports guy, but to me, do that and make it like battle bots, right? Or like just come up with whatever you can. And by the way, inject as much steroids. Go as crazy as you want. Just show us what you can do.
There should be a league like that where just no rules.
Yeah, they won't do that because that's the only one anybody would ever watch.
Can we invent something that would be that mountain guy that you're always talking about would be like a really good player for that? Like what's that? It's like tree tossing.
Mountain guy?
The guy that's like super insanely muscular and super.
Oh, the Bjornsson.
Yeah.
Half-Thor. No, it turns out, so he's boxing now, and he's not that athletic. He's just big. Watching him box it's like, is there a toddler in there? But if he gets a hold of you, But yeah, I'd like to see, for example, a Mark McGuire type, but with no limits on the amount of stuff that he can inject. So he could get to be around that size with the hand-eye coordination.
It probably won't happen in our lifetime, but eventually you figure these kinds of things will happen. Like you just download your consciousness into an exoskeleton, or you copy your consciousness into another body, a clone of yourself, and it doesn't matter if one of your your lumbar L4 explodes. It literally just doesn't matter. It's like, oh, we found the limit of what that is.
We're gonna get this Amazon Basic part and put that in place of it.
I mean, that would be pretty exciting, really, if you saw that. Superman
actually once did play baseball against a team of robots, but in order to make it fair, he was the only player on his team. So he had to play all the positions at the same time.
Well, with his super speed, I guess that would probably be okay, right?
Yeah. Exciting narrative opportunities in the Superman universe.
Well, you know what else was exciting, Krista? But maybe the wrong kind of exciting. The kind of exciting that wakes you up in a cold sweat, especially when it happened just a month ago, or a couple of months ago.
That was a different thing than this. Same result, but
no, it was exactly the same thing.
No, this was the return pod. So they did a test firing of the return capsule, so it's slightly different.
Well, they didn't mean to test it.
Yeah. Errant Russian spacecraft thruster firing tilts the space station by accident again. So there's some people up there. They're getting ready to come home. They were doing some pre-flight checks, and they accidentally fired this thruster way longer than it's supposed to.
And everyone else was like asleep in another pod, and they got rolled out of bed.
Yeah, it's like, oops.
Wow, you can't get rolled out of
Well,
bed. But they're saying that now they've just concluded what they thought happened in the original one, which was a software glitch. So is the same software glitch still present? Possibly. That's an alarming one.
No.
And as we've seen before, the space station is getting old, showing some cracks, not all of which can be explained by the unexpected thrusting. But it needs to be replaced.
Oh, sorry.
Because I'm 12.
Sorry.
You know who's getting ready to replace it? China.
China's historic crewed missions arrives at the new space station, and the authors of this article almost, are looking at this and they're saying, wow, China's space program is coming along really fast. They're not going to need America anymore.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Hypersonic missiles. So it's a little smaller. This is just the core module that's going up, and there's going to be 4 people living in it. I can't remember what the square footage was, but it's much smaller than the current space station, although it's modular. So you imagine they'll just keep bolting new units onto it.
Yeah. And remember, the ISS, the International Space Station, that is due to sunset by what, 2030?
Yeah, very soon. I'd say probably, like, it might even fall apart before that. Also, the first female Chinese astronaut will be going up. Do they call them astronauts?
Well, I'm sure they say something in Chinese.
Yeah, but like in Russia, it's cosmonaut. They have their own.
I don't know.
Anyway, they're going up. Her and no, it's not three. It's not 4 people. It's 3, which could be. It's 6 months. 6 months with those 3 people on the space station. What an intense love triangle that could be.
I don't think there's enough room for them to exercise in the photo that I saw. They're just kind of crammed in there. They're going to lose a lot of bone mass.
That's how the Chinese do it.
I was thinking too about like washing your hair and stuff. You probably just don't.
Oh no, that Canadian guy, the charismatic Canadian astronaut with a mustache. Can't remember his name.
Mustache.
But he's all over the place. Chris Hadfield. He has all kinds of YouTube videos on how they do all that stuff. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Huh.
Just check those out.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. After the Level 1 news, of course.
No, do it right now.
Bye.
And that is not the only new piece of hardware that's going to be in the sky, maybe.
Meet Starlab, a private space station planned to fly in 2021. Starlab kind of reminds me of Skylab. You know, Skylab had a few near misses because of maybe some low-priced contractors, and that was the only thing I could think of when I was thinking about Starlab. There's going to be a commercial space station to fill the gap, as it were, as the International Space Station sort of winds down its missions. And this is probably going to be a Musk and/or Elon Musk and/or Jeff Bezos creation.
Well, I think what they want to do is they want to try to make it like universal, so nobody owns the lab. You will just install your module onto the universal structure.
I'm pretty sure Boeing's down for the count.
You think they'll have kind of like an HOA type thing? Like, who decides how to paint these shared areas?
Oh man, that would be just like, your paint is not the correct shade of white. You need to go change it to this.
I was thinking like signage, where it's like, you know, at first the signs are all in English, and then someone slaps like a Russian sticker over it, and then someone slaps a Chinese sticker over it,
Or
and then
graffiti.
an American one again. Yeah.
They keep tagging the different things.
Yeah.
So many graffiti.
Yeah. And that's rough on the paint because it's like, go get some more paint. Well, bro, we only brought this paint. This cost $1 million.
That's not my problem. You're going to be fined every day that the paint is not in compliance.
Also, this bird fountain. What is this bird fountain doing here? So, I don't know. That's cool, though. It's cool to have a private space station. And moving on to nonsense. Boy, this sounds terrifying, doesn't it? I guess maybe the Uyghur camps are winding down.
U.S. surgeons successfully test pig kidney transplant in a human patient.
They've done stuff like this before.
This pig was genetically modified.
They've done like heart valves and stuff like that, but never a whole organ.
Yeah, they've done, well, sometimes too, like, I think that they can, like, run your blood through, like, a pig's kidney and then run it back into your body, but they've never done, like, a full transplant.
This actually opens the door for a lot of things, because if the whole reason... Because we've tried to use pig organs for a lot of things, and there's a particular protein that causes your body to reject it immediately. And
I hate this. Get rid of it.
yeah, and so they've bred that out, or they've removed it genetically. They've made the pig DNA a little closer to human, and it's not rejecting it. So not just kidneys, but this will also make heart valves and stuff like that way less prone to rejection, and also skin grafts.
I think
that's pretty cool. I mean, you said it's dystopian, but
I'm reading between the lines here. I think what Level 1 needs to do is clear out all of Chris's property and get some hogs in there.
no,
Right?
I'm making a garden.
No, but we could sell these pig kidneys, Krista.
So many pig kidneys.
Imagine the Chinese market for
There's a
that.
strawberry farm up one side of the road, and then there's the pig kidney farm right next to it. Don't mind the squealing.
Oh, pigs are
They're so
stinky.
Yeah.
You would hate that.
they're terrible.
But it would be worth it. Well, Apple, they released all their big new hardware pieces. I left this one for the nonsense section, and I'm not going to tell you why. I think you can infer that.
Apple introduces a new polishing cloth for all devices. Sold separately, it's $19.
That's a piece of microfiber cloth. It's not very big either. It's I mean, there's no scale there, but I expect that's probably what, like
Yeah, but
4
look,
inches
it has
square?
the Apple logo embossed on it.
$19.
Worth it.
Also,
for the
good
logo.
news, they have a compatibility tester on their site. This is applies to all Apple products.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. They have no shame, and sometimes I like that about them. You know? It's kind of endearing.
It is kind of interesting that apparently the age of Johnny Ive is over. And was he the one responsible for removing all the ports on the Apple laptops? Because they've added a ton of ports to the new laptops, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, they brought back the ports! They brought back the magnetic charger."
He was kind of responsible for like their multicolored gradient aesthetic that got really popular for a while too. That was like everywhere on the web at the same time.
So what you're saying is all of his ideas can't all be winners.
Yeah.
So remember you probably don't remember this. There was a God, what's his name? The guy who talks funny from Jurassic Park, the Chaos Theory.
Oh, Ian Malcolm is the name of the character. I don't know the name of the actor.
Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum.
Wow, that's amazing, Christy. You don't know Jeff Goldblum, you know that. So
I really like the book.
He did an Apple commercial at one point where he was talking about the beige color versus the Apple colors. You remember that?
Yeah.
If you take that and you slow it down, it sounds like he is insanely drunk. Because like the way he speaks, all you have to do is just go to YouTube and slow that down a bunch, and it just sounds like he's about to pass out.
Is that every character he plays, or
That one in particular works really well. I'm not
Yeah.
sure why. Well, man, I think we talked about this before, but CBD, I feel like COVID.
yo demonetized?
No.
I feel like the pandemic
Join our Patreon, please.
killed off CBD. Because remember, right before that, I mean, January of 2020, CBD was as high as it's been ever.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you just don't hear about it anymore.
And you can't ship it. The timing is suspicious.
That's
Yeah.
weird. And it seems like the FDA is not done looking into it.
The FDA is going to search Reddit and other social media sites to learn about effects of CBD and quote-unquote emerging cannabinoids like the Delta-8 THC. Because, what are people doing? What are the side
Demonetized
effects?
again
We
for
don't-
using the D word.
We don't know. Oh, yeah, maybe.
But not for this D. It's for the other D. So Reddit doesn't seem like a place that you would want to go
It's filled with such terrible
for
disinformation.
that kind of thing.
I
'Cause
mean, just ask for advice building a computer on Reddit, and almost everything is the loudest voices are the wrongest.
But think about it now. So our government is monitoring Reddit not only for drug war policy, but also for financial policy. What kind of sick world is this?
Where are the four horsemen? Just take us now. Just take us now. It's over. You win. Just take us.
Ooh, how would we change the sexualities and the genders of the four horsemen to make them woke? Has anybody done that yet? Engagement challenge. Video games are a way to communicate that is, I would say, one of the least monitored, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Like even Sony and Microsoft seem to be doing very little to monitor what's going on there.
I remember when the thing happened a long time ago, and it was like a thing for passing the Patriot Act. Was there were people in Counter-Strike that were
With the
shoot-
bullets.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that, and it almost feels like a memory.
Well, you got to explain what exactly it was, though. It was the artifacts,
Yeah.
the bullet holes,
Because who would log that?
and they're temporary.
Yes.
The server can only handle so many bullet holes at one time, and then it starts erasing the old ones. So you got an ephemeral message
It's genius.
for terrorism. I don't think that ever happened.
So I think
No.
why that happened is that somebody like us was sitting in a governmental meeting that was like, "You're not thinking about this." It's like if you ask them to log all the chat messages, that doesn't do any good. And it's like, "What do you mean they log everything?" He's like, "No, let me show you." And then he did something like that as an example.
He drew a
of,
smiley face with bullets on the wall in Counter-Strike.
yeah, and it's like, "See, you can use that for communication," and no one would ever think of that or use that. And then they were like,
So obviously, it's been a while. We can recycle that excuse again, right? And get more control.
"Drug cartels are recruiting teens through video games," Mexican officials say. "The only fix is to literally have somebody from the state that's just watching you all the time."
Or the NSA just capturing all the voice and reviewing it later. Maybe we can hire Accenture to do that.
Wow, they sure do hate everyone's mother.
But they did have one specific example that was reported here where there were a couple of boys, and this guy got on there and he was like, "Hey, you want to make $200 a day? I'll give you a bus ticket." And he did. And they were almost on the bus. They were just kind of dumb. They couldn't find it. And people intercepted them, found out what happened.
Pro life tip: don't get on a bus from a ticket from someone you met in a gaming lobby.
It's almost always good advice. Almost.
As someone who went to a BBS party at Pizza Hut before they were a teenager, yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, but that was so much safer in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Well, red light cameras and all that kind of ilk, license plate readers, they're everywhere, and they're horrible, and they make really stupid mistakes, which can be fun.
Motorists find after CCTV confuses his number plate with a woman's T-shirt. So this woman was walking through the road, which I guess was controlled.
It was a bus lane.
And her shirt was recognized as his license plate.
His man's name is Knight, so his license plate is Knighter. What an asshole. And her shirt proudly proclaims she was a knitter. She likes to knit. He says that when he called them, they all had a good laugh. I would not be laughing if I was talking to you about this. I'd be saying things that I would be doing everything I could to make you angry.
You wasted a bunch of my time. That's not acceptable.
I'd be telling you about how I felt that your children should die to see if I could press that button. Because that's what those bureaucrats deserve. Well, here in the, being locked at home and everything, maybe you're developing some health problems that you never expected that you would have. The pandemic is affecting us all in weird ways. If you have some parts of your body that are not performing like they used to, perhaps there's a new way to study your problems.
This erection tracker is like Fitbit for your penis. Really, it's not that, though. It's just, all it does is just track when things are going on down there, and maybe stuff's happening while you sleep and you don't realize it. Maybe it's happening during the day and you're not really keeping track of it. And if you chart it over time, it's like, something is clearly going wrong here.
Here's a terrifying story, but someone that we all know, I was once having a conversation with him, and I didn't realize till later when I went back and reviewed that conversation in my memory how disturbing it was, because this person later on got in a little bit of trouble, the worst kind of trouble. He told me, and now I understand why he was aware of this, that there is an investigation method where they install something like this on you and show you a series of videos.
Oh.
And if there's any reaction,
Oh.
and he was researching that. Do you know who it is now?
Yeah.
Oh. Ugh.
Sorry.
Yikes.
Yeah. I didn't want to know that, but now
it's-
everyone in the chat has to know too.
Now it's inside your brain.
Ugh.
Anyway, that's the same kind of thing. So they think that you put it on at night, and if that is happening at night, which is, apparently most men on average, it happens 3 to 4 times. So if it's happening then, but it's not happening on demand, then your problem is not physical, it's psychological. Oh man, how great that I put these two stories together by accident. Because first we were talking about, and then we're talking about.
The city of Ottawa has been accused of "quote unquote" ongoing hate for beavers. Yes, they're nature's little wood
Dammers.
something. There's a lot of them in Ottawa. They're kind of a protected species, but also kind of not. They at one time they were a nuisance species until they were on the brink of extinction, and now they're not. But they're also still kind of an annoyance. So a lot of people are saying, well, they're not really hurting anything yet. They're not really impeding any of the commercial production on land, except in maybe like 1 or 2 places. So we should just leave them alone. They have a lot of benefits.
At one time, they were basically the only reason anybody ever went to Canada. It used to be insanely valuable, those furs. And they are bringing in those same trappers these days and spending a lot of money on them.
$128,000.
And a lot of people are saying,
And you get to keep the furs.
it's better to just, let them build a dam and then build a system that bypasses it. That's cheaper than $128,000 a year. Although I got to think, beavers are so good at that. I think whatever you do, they would end up defeating it.
Yeah.
There are beavers here, I've learned recently. Like, there's still a few varieties that live in this area.
Yeah, they're mostly smaller and
Yeah.
they don't really like these. Some of the contraptions that they've put together are really elaborate.
It's those Canadian beavers. They're more powerful. And New Zealand has decided to make some changes. They're perhaps moving into the brave new world where they control your entire life and They're the only source for truth. I've heard both of those things from the Prime Minister. But one thing that they will not have in the Great Reset is wizardry.
New Zealand Council ends contract with Wizard after 2 decades of service. Was he canceled? Is it just time to end this?
What services was he providing?
He was just entertainment.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
that's all. It's just a fun old dude.
So this is a British guy that showed up in New Zealand at some point, and he was just crazy. And he would get out and do like street magic and stuff like that, and people loved him. And the powers that be, the bureaucrats at that point, the same kind of people who are in charge now, tried to ban him. And there was so much backlash from that. They're like, okay, whatever. He's the official wizard.
The court wizard.
They've been paying him $16,000 a year since then. And
20 years.
He's amassed, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
362,000. So.
Also, look at this guy. Take a look at him, right? I don't remember the exact age. I think he was 88.
Yeah.
Really?
He looks amazing for 88.
Yeah, well, it's because he gets out and he gets around.
And he uses sunscreen.
And obviously magic.
They also said that he would say things to women sometimes.
Yeah, so he's being canceled a little bit. His women comments were definitely misogynistic.
Well, yes, they were, but they weren't. It wasn't. The exact thing. I wish we could read the article because the exact thing that he said was I thought sounded much less bad than what it made it sound like he said.
I haven't ever heard this man speak or anything, but I got a real kind of like Chris Chan vibe.
Yeah.
I think he really wants girls to like him, but he's never been able to figure that out, even with the fame.
Yeah, he said something like, "I've never hit a woman," and
he said he's forgiven many of them.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean?
Pro audience tip: treat women like you treat men for the most part.
Well, he was saying that women bruise too easily, so I guess he's hit men.
Yeah, like he says, you never hit a woman, they bruise too easily or something like that, which is a dumb thing to say. But he is an 88-year-old magic man. Come on, what do we expect?
The world was different when he was born. We can't hold him against that.
He's going to continue.
He's trying.
He's still going to make his rounds, so he's still going to be on the streets, doing his thing, even though he's not getting paid.
Well, the article did say that they have seen much less of him as
88
because he's 88.
You know what? We should put him in space.
There's no money and there's no PR stunt for that.
First wizard in space.
I didn't see. Did you guys cover the story about Shatner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That was so sad.
Why was it sad?
It was sad because Bezos drenched him in alcohol and then was over-talked him.
Yeah.
Well, but see, Bill Shatner will do a monologue on you.
Yeah.
And he'll steal the scene if he can. So I totally get that. That wasn't his day. As much as people wanted it to be, I guess. How about we put this guy and Bill Shatner up in the space station, do like an Odd Couple 2.0. How great would that be?
Bad news, Bill. The resupply mission from Earth is not coming, and he just launches into it.
We do a 24-hour live stream. It turns out for about 12 hours a day, it's just them trying to help each other with the space toilet.
Oh.
I guess you don't have to space toilet on Blue Origin, right? Because you're not up there for any amount of time.
Probably not.
Just have to hold it in.
Oh, no.
Well, you have to sit in the launch pad forever, right? That's a big problem they've had in the past.
Yeah, you're right. I don't
true?
know. Because it was Elon Musk's that has the toilet that it just has a curtain.
Remember this. Those men, when they stepped onto the moon, had a full load in those diapers. You couldn't take the suit off. They were stepping wide. Trying to step around the payload down there.
Everyone on Earth is watching that footage why are they walking that way? Is the gravity weird?
It wasn't the gravity.
Yeah. I mean, maybe a little, but...
Jeff Bezos, a reporter kind of rubbed his nose in the fact that the streaming service that's killing it right now is not his, and he was diplomatic about it.
Jeff Bezos says that he, quote-unquote, can't wait to watch Squid Game. It was the reporter also said that some people have compared him to the antagonist, the unseen corporate antagonist in Squid Game.
Right, yeah, the funder of the Squid Game.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it. I know that's been the hot new meme fodder on the internet right now.
He certainly has the means to do all that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he could just buy a small country and make this happen, and it would be totally legal.
Yeah, for sure.
But at least right now we have, Elon Musk to thank because, he's trying to catch up to be the world's wealthiest person again because somehow Elon Musk has sailed past him. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, well, no, but I think it's because Musk is he's more of a mean billionaire, right? The populace likes him more. They're more caught up in his lies.
Yeah.
I don't know that. Well, there's definitely the fanboys for Musk, but like, I feel like that's turning a little bit. Public perception of both of them is in the toilet, I think.
I think for the average person, they believe that Elon Musk is personally responsible for everything his companies do, and that he's just that much of a brilliant man. Kind of like the Steve Jobs fallacy.
Huh.
Yeah. And our final story, actually, I don't know why I chose this for the final story. I thought I had a better one. But distracted driving. Usually you think about phones, somebody who can't put their phone down. But in this case, it was something much more bizarre.
Driver in Burlington caught playing the flute with both hands, police say.
So he was stopped. Flouting, right? Or is it... Flautist is the name of the person.
Just playing the flute. I don't think there's a specific word for that.
There's got to be a better word. Anyway, at the stoplight, going hard on the flute. And then as the light changed, didn't stop playing the flute as they accelerated away.
It's a battle bard, man. He's got to go.
He was fluting his own Flight of the Bumblebee as he sped away. He is his own soundtrack.
They said he was listening to an iPhone. I don't know if that was through the Bluetooth or he actually had the headphones in. But if you had the headphones in, how could you hear your own flute playing?
I can't wait for the next version of this article where it's like, no, he had the full self-driving level 5. It was totally okay.
You're not supposed to listen to headphones while you drive because, or at least that's what I read when I was doing my driver's ed stuff, was because you can't hear traffic as well.
Yeah. Although, I don't understand how that is reconciled with how loud stereos can get.
Yeah.
You could easily drown out all that noise. Also, don't some cars now have like sound isolation built in? Because I know that's a big luxury car thing that they'll sell you on. It's like a tomb inside of this car.
You can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything going on. You can't hear the scratching on the door handles of the plebs as they suffer.
Have you seen the clip of Lizzo playing flute? There's a couple really good ones. That's what I'm imagining. Is her playing.
I gotta be totally honest with you. I see the name Lizzo. I don't know who Lizzo is.
She's like a pop music person. She has some good songs.
Okay.
But she also plays the flute. She's classically trained to play flute and is actually quite good at it.
You know who else played the flute? The person I was talking about earlier.
Oh.
Anyway, happy Halloween. Enjoy your spooky times.
Krista, what is your Halloween outfit?
I'll be wearing hiking clothes.
Hiking girl?
Yeah. I'll be wearing a fleece and hiking pants. Glamorous.
Is that beautiful K9 going with you?
No, not for this. This is too far for her.
It was just a meme, but I saw somebody that had their outfit and they'd done it in pictures, and it was like white shirt, black pants, and then like 2 garbage bags full of stuff. And I was like, what is this? And then it was the picture of Tank Man from Tiananmen Square.
Oh, that's dark.
That's very
who
dark.
Remembers his outfit?
I don't know.
Steal his look.
They live in Taiwan, so.
Yeah, that could be more. Wow, that's ballsy.
They're from here, so Halloween's not really a thing there. So I don't know, or as much of a thing.
Yeah, Halloween doesn't seem to have caught on with the rest of the world quite as much.
No.
It's kind of a dumb holiday, but it's for kids.
Well, and it's fun. Like going to a costume party is fun, but no one does that as adults anymore, which is sad.
Well, not now.
Yeah.
But I bet they will.
That's still a thing for college students.
Oh my God!
Any excuse.
Just choose something and then get as slutty as you can. That's the college tradition, and I got to say it was great.
Wonder if there's a version of that for Tank Man.
There's the best one ever. If you Google it, it's the slutty Bert and Ernie contest.
Oh,
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's just like, oh my gosh.
Anyway, we'll leave you with that horror to imagine. We'll see you guys next week.
We'll see ya.
Bye.